But let's focus on forgiveness of debt and trespass, and thou shalt not covet. Right. So when you're understanding natural laws, I'm not saying things don't get out of whack. Like Lot. Okay, Lot is an excellent story about things getting out of whack. Okay, Lot goes looking for young men for his daughters. Okay. That if you don't have the same hopes and dreams and aspirations for other people's children, you're a failure as a human being, right? Maria. And if I was my daughter, I would choose Othello too, right? So it's content of your character, right? Remember old Mr. Martin Luther King Jr. The content of your character. Are you a faithful human being? Do you understand truth? Life's eternal, grace is infinite, and so in Lot's case, that was very horrible. His wife ran off to Las Vegas to get a residency, and the daughters are like, "We don't want to go Las Vegas to get a residency. We want Montana," and he had to, and the girls had to, because that was the only suitable man they could find. And that's horrible. It's sad. Sad, sad, sad. It's just a sad, sad situation. Why can't we talk it over? And it's getting more and more absurd, right? And that's the worst, because you want, hey, that's Patrick. Oh, he's a good kid. He's gorgeous. Oh, sorry. you know. And I remember when I explained that to my sister Poncha, her kids, because Johnny and Linda had a crush on one another, Johnny Parsons. And Linda was throwing a fit. Poncha was throwing a fit. And I'm like, Poncha, you're so Molly Mormon. Look, Linda is Linda Ann Stack, Dukovich, Steve Stack's daughter, okay? And Johnny is Jim Parsons and Jerry Ann's daughter, okay? So there's no cross-mosinization of, Mississippi mud pie here stuff. It's all good, right? If they wanted to date each other and have kids, they could, right? As far as, family tree not forking and so on. It's just weird to you because that's dad's brother's son and mom's daughter, okay? But it's not weird, okay? Natalie had a big crush on Patrick. It's like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's mine and Stephanie's son, okay? And Kelly and Amy's, or Kelly's cousin, we don't know. Yeah, Amy wrote it down in her diary. She wasn't sure because they said that, well, it wasn't this. Somebody wrote a letter to Amy and said, well, Kelly doesn't know if he wants to be with you and wants to have the child because when his cousin came out from Ohio and Snoop Dogg. Yeah, he was the Snoop Dogg of Apache Junction. You didn't have to worry about that with me. I can tell my dad that all the time. I don't have any, Well, I use condoms with Jantale and Kimberly and Maria too. But Maria didn't have any. She was heading towards past menopause and stuff like that. So and that's it. Okay. Other than the girls that did get pregnant, Rocky and Law, and we weren't sure, because she was cheating with, she was a side chick for creepy black guys. I wasn't sure, if that was mine or not, so that was tough. It's tough in a situation when you're like that. It's horrible to put a guy in a situation like that where you cheat and he doesn't know if it's his child. That's terrible. Okay. With Steffi, no. Unless the CIA came in and planted Barack Obama's sperm inside Steffi while she was sleeping while I was at work. There was no. Steffi was, she's very guarded. She was very, that was me and Steffi, right? There wasn't any doubts in my head because, where are you at all night? Where have you been? There wasn't any of that kind of stuff going on. And then when she was screwing around, I'm like, well, it was that one army guy that she left his book bag. I was like, oh, God dang, I was so mad at her. They ruined my bag, left his, and he screwed my wife on my bed. And I'm like, wow, military. No, I was never like a lot of those guys. Like I used to tell Amy, you and your leg lifters at the bars. No, I don't do that to other people. Same thing happened. Yes, same thing happened in Southwest Airlines. Yeah, the whole 9 yards with Monty, who was a Marine that was dumb and not good with his wife, and I was, concerned about him and worried about him, and didn't put myself in vulnerable situations with his wife. Well, because he was kind of, and the same thing with, I want to say her name was Kelly, the one who was married to the golf guy from Missouri. Yeah. And she wanted out of the marriage because she hated his it was like being married to Rush Limbaugh, and he kind of kept it quiet till they got married, and then shit. And then she's pregnant. It's like, holy crap, Rush Limbaugh lied to me, right? He didn't let me know how conservative and wacky he was. She was from Oregon. She went to the University of Oregon. She always used to tell me, yeah, I used to date this tight end, and boy, did I was like laughing, like, that's funny. You don't tell your husband this, do you? She's like, you're so secure. You don't have I'm not your husband. If you kept telling me that afterwards, like, ain't nothing I can do for that. You dated Rick Fox in college? Was he your professor? Right? There's nothing you can do about that. Me and Patrick, you can't lie on your dick. And so, Raquel had a big butt. Law had a tiny little Halle Berry butt. Okay. I never sat and told her, Raquel's butt was lots bigger than yours. I never said that at all. I thought it for a minute when we were taking the shower the next day. Oh my gosh, she has a tiny butt. Okay, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. She's gorgeous. Okay. And then that was as far as it went. I didn't sit there and think, boy, I wish if I had Law's face with Rocky's butt, then I would have what? Then I would have Glasheen Maxwell and Jeb Priest, searching for a prospective mate for me. Okay. Anthony Skiller's face, Raquel Sennelly's butt, and they'd find one. Yeah, close. Oh, wow. Or Erica Fortiche. Yeah, Erica Fortiche. You could hook that up. That would be nice. I don't think she wasn't into me, so I wasn't interested. And I found when you find a girl very attractive, and you're wow, and then they show no interest whatsoever, and it's like, okay, that wouldn't be a relationship at all, right? So let it go. Nicole Estridge did show interest. Yeah, she flirted, she smiled, and and so she was interested. I think it was probably more my reputation, and she wasn't sure about me. Most of the girls that were like that when I was young, because I was a drug dealer and possibly bisexual. So I can understand Nicole's and Priscilla's apprehension to want to date me because of the gossip. I didn't understand. I was like, what's wrong with her? And then I thought it's because I'm just thinking sexually, which I wasn't. It was because of my reputation, because of the gossip. Okay, he's a bisexual drug dealer, sells drugs to his own sister, and we'll kill you. Wow, I'm where do I sign up, man? He sounds exciting. Okay, you're so funny. Not only that, it's just, what if he has sex with someone like Jake Gyllenhaal or Heath Ledger with you? Wow, you could take video, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm just not that type of person. Oh gosh, no, not even the slightest. Me and Amy had those kind of talks. It's like, hey, I understand the culture you were raised in, the people you were raised with, and the abuse from the Snoop Dogg, Straight Outta Compton, Howard Stern culture and stuff. And I understand that stuff. And I wasn't raised in that kind of culture. I was raised in Molly Mormon, Lone Ranger, Brady Bunch culture, and the Partridge Family. Well, yeah, come on along. There's this. I think I'll lick my lolly later. There was liberal aspects of conservative values. But the thing is they're not values because we weren't living the Lord's Prayer. Conservative values. You have to conserve things to have, to feed, so those are conservative values. So you live the Lord's Prayer, and then you act like Joseph, and you take some of the grain and you put it in the storage tank to save for, people to share in a communal way. And so those are conservative values, and neither the socialist or the fascist or the anarchist or the capitalist saw any of them, or communists live those. So sod off, right? So I'm fixing quantum computing and artificial general intelligence. Why didn't Jeffrey Hinton do this? I don't know. I can't tell you why Demis Hassabis and Jeffrey Hinton and Brian Cox and Neil deGrasse Tyson and Michio Kaku. I don't know why they're not. Why are they not doing this? I think they're afraid of being killed by the people that abuse me here and try to drive me crazy for being better than them. I think that would be probably your best explanation is why Neil deGrasse Tyson still talks the way he does and doesn't go, oh, well, maybe you should watch his videos. His are way more intelligent than mine. But they don't seem so. Well, he's just, he's all by himself. He doesn't have anybody to talk to. And except for the beautiful voices in his head. Right. Yeah. You don't want to have to talk to Malcolm X before he's going to be murdered by his own business partners. We didn't talk anymore because he was dead. We had conversations for a semester in Phoenix, yeah. And then they killed him. Okay. As soon as he was going to talk to his wife about what we talked about, they murdered him. The CIA set up assassination for him. Do you understand? And then later they had horrible things happen to Betty too. So there were obviously things maybe on the phone or something that they discussed, and she went over and she taught in prayer and stuff. Prayer works. The thing is, Wi-Fi does not help at all. No, it's the exact opposite of help. It's rape. It's abuse. It's manipulation. You're so hard on Mark Zuckerberg, it's the CIA. He's business partners with them. You know what happened to me on that fucking social media app? I had fuckers, hot Arab guys on Messenger talk to me in a towel saying we were going to masturbate together on Messenger and shit. I didn't solicit or ask or no. Okay? They did horrible things on that. They do horrible things on Facebook to manipulate people, compromise people, and abuse people. Okay. That picture that I downloaded off of that with the thing with Natalie, that was from Facebook and Messenger. And I took it and broke it and she threw it away and said, God, that was horrible. I was mad. Okay. I was very mad. It sets up predatory conditions for the military to manipulate people to quote manage them. And Ilhan Omar and stuff, she is who she is. She's got an ego problem. And the only way to get out of her ego problem is tell the truth about me. And she's sure fuck ain't going to do that. Neither is Hunter Biden. Neither is Christy. No, none of them are going to. Tom Holman. That man is an ego problem on crack. He's done a lot of bad things in his life. And he's still part of a lot of bad things. When you take people and turn them loose in a prison like that, where they are sexually assaulted by men that get paid for it, that's the same thing like with the Nazis that sodomized homosexuals with shovel handles in France. And all you liberals, you guys are the ones who set it up. You're the ones who set up the people to come down here to be put into it. So it would affect your constituents so they would still fight for your battles and their battles and that. Okay. When you do things right, you don't set up disgusting situations for revenge. Okay, you forgive them 7 times upon infinity. I know what I'm doing. I'm fixing. Look, I fix quantum computing and artificial general intelligence, not the inventors and developers of it. They're not capable. If they were capable, we wouldn't have the book of Revelation. We wouldn't still have the Bible and people praying to Jesus every day. We wouldn't have people in Mecca all walking around a building with a rock in it, counterclockwise, because they've lost their mind. Counterclockwise, it probably has a lot to do with, like I said, about the things with but I don't know. I don't think a lot about that stuff, guys. I don't think about putting the space station up in the sky and the Parsons Aeronautics and the wormhole and going back and doing the things that need to be. It's probably just some things that are discussed. Okay. So we know what's happening now that don't have classified information to. And then the people that wrote down the Bible saw all this magical stuff in the future that's scientific and then just went to town with it. Well, if they have magical things that are happening in the future, they can also happen in the past. So that's how they see it, and that's how they write it, and that's how they put it down, and that's their story, and they're sticking to it. Okay. And so that's when you take it and you write it down, okay, and it's not your diary or it's not your visions from the future. It's going to be like Nostradamus. It's going to be Hister and TMZ and Inquirer and Sun and so forth. So you get what you play for and what you pay for and what you pray for with an E or an A. And I pray with an A. And you guys all are going after the money, so you pray with an E. And so you're just bad people. And it's hard to get artificial general intelligence and quantum computing to understand bad because of the developers that developed it have bad brain activity. So what they did to develop it, they couldn't put something together that would... my brain is submitted to faith and infinite glory. Okay? So how do you... it's hard to get a computer program, and you can't. It's hard. It's too intelligent for the developers of this to manipulate people with technology. It's just a tool. And when you're faithful and have faith in infinite glory, your brain is free to be an instrument for the glory of the soul. So it's not a tool. Okay, tool bags? Don't be a turd bag. Turd bag, that's when you're a tool bag your whole life, die. The only thing you're good for is fertilizing weeds. Okay. I love you guys, man. Peace.